Good morning, traders. Today is Friday, January 28th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please smash that like button. Okay, so it's the same as yesterday. We're opening inside the previous day's range, inside the previous day's value area. So I'm expecting some chop this morning. But the thing that's got me so excited, the thing that I am loving, is the fact that we are unquestionably in a balancing area low. In a balancing area. And what I basically said yesterday to the members of the Brigade as we were leaving was, the nice thing about a balance area is that when you're at one end or the other, it presents you with amazing trade opportunities. And so what I suggested we should look for this morning was, likely the overnight would come down and test that balance area low. Does it pull back into balance, or does it break that low and get continuation lower? If it does find support, we're likely to head to the opposite end of balance. So when I open up my chart this morning and I see that we gorgeously found support right at that balance area low, I know I've got some good strategy for today. So what I'm watching for is support right now as the market trades its way lower. Again, I'm not going to trade the chop. I'm not looking to get into a trade probably for the next half an hour, hour of the day. I'm going to let the market figure itself out. But if we pull down into here, and we get some support, really, if we get support anywhere, let me pull up that tool, that pen tool. If we get support anywhere in here, anywhere above the balance area low, or even if we went down just like the overnight did and we dip below, look below and fail and pull back up, any of that would be bullish to get us all the way to the opposite end of balance. Which is up there at 44.05. So anywhere the market finds support this morning in here is a good trade to get back up there. Just like yesterday when we were up in here, I said if we looked above and failed, we would head down to the opposite end of balance, and that's exactly what happened. The same is true today, but to the upside. So as far as downside, they would have to get below this level. 42.76, which is, it's not an exact level, right? Balance areas are very in the eye of the beholder. It's an art form. It's not an exact science. So just somewhere around this area, if it starts to break below there and then it comes back up and finds resistance, that too, just like a long trade, if it finds support, is an awesome long trade because it could have a lot of momentum to the upside. A break below a larger balancing area, a multi-day balancing area, that looks below and then finds resistance is an extremely good short because you often get an equal amount of excess as the size of the balancing area. So that would imply that's our multi-day balance. So the idea is if we look below this morning, come back up and find resistance, we're literally heading that same distance to the downside. Looking for support right there. So both opportunities, whether the market finds support this morning around the balance area low or anywhere above it, or if it breaks and then finds resistance, either one of those is setting us up for a very nice trade with good high probabilities of success. And there's nothing I love more than that. Looking at a chart and instantly feeling confident I understand what the market is doing. So let's see if we stay in balance today. Diego, good to see you. Cyrus, NW, Philip in the house. Mick Stockster, good to see you. Scooball, Laser Eye, Amir, John is back with us. Nor Auto Trader, Design Knob, David Glass. Aaron is here. Welcome. The Shaw back with us. Hello to you. MK, good morning. Sanju and San Diego Trader. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, yeah, thank you for the reminder, Scooball. All right, so just for fun, throwing out this little quiz. Obviously, you just have to guess. You have no idea yet. But do you think the market is going to trend its way higher today, meaning it's going to work its way up? Do you think it's going to trend lower, meaning it's going to work its way down? Or do you think we're just going to bounce around inside this range for the rest of the day and stay rotational? Let me know. Completely just guessing at this point. Good morning, Dimitri. James, good morning. Profiling demons. We're all angels here. All right, any last takers in the quiz? I'm going to turn it off. This is your moment. Make your voice heard. What's going to happen? Design knob until it does the opposite of what you think. No. That's what's so beautiful about a balancing area. It really will do one of two things. It will either find support and rotate back up to the opposite end of balance, or try to anyway. It might fail and that causes the breakout, but it just has high probability of rotating to the opposite end of balance. And if it looks below and it succeeds, it comes back up and finds resistance, a look below and go, that's what it's called. If it has a look below and go, that's very bearish for continuation. So that's what I love about a nice clear balancing area like this. You know what to do. You have to be patient and wait. But then once you get in that trade, you can sit back and let that sucker run. Just like yesterday, right? If you shorted up here and you were just patient and patient and patient and patient, just waited and waited and waited, it worked its way down to the opposite end of balance. Rev, good morning to you. Welcome. Scoop all poor low. I missed it. You're right, though. There was for a second there a weak low. Okay. I'm not saying this is the low here, but we are starting to bring in some support. And we've acceptable taper. It's not amazing taper here at the low. Okay, never mind. Big Ray, good morning to you. Nicholas, good to see you. Welcome. Trader Ned says I'm camouflaged, so you can't see me. I'm not sure what you're responding to. Ronald, good morning, our mates. Mates. TV, good morning. It'll bounce around. All right, so the results of the poll. Uncertainty. That's fair. 40% rotational, 30% lower, 20% higher. To me, it'll be a trend day one direction or another, at least to get, like I said, to the balance area high or a breakout lower. I think this market's going to move. Might do what we did yesterday and rotate for a little bit first, but it's going somewhere. Kathy up, trapping shorts. Anton, hello, welcome. Happy to have you. Henry, good morning to you. And the addict is in the house. Welcome, brother. Diane, I need another question in the poll. Down to the lower target, then up. Yeah, that's fair. Jay Trader, good morning to you. Lahab got long. Amir says the market's trying to find support. Harry's asking ES support. Design Knob saying nope, market's going to take. So at this point, we really didn't have any overnight activity to absorb. I would describe it as kind of neutral. They traded lower, but then they got back above it. So maybe a little bit net long. So at this point, I think it's safe to say this first sign that we are getting good support will be getting those ticks above the zero line. Arcade ticks lifting but need above zero. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. All right, so the NQ also testing that bounce area low right now. This is sort of the last support. I would say if we break the overnight low on the NQ, things get real bearish real quick. Same as with the ES, I would look for a push lower, and then it comes back up, and I would sell the resistance for continuation. So keeping an eye on that low. This should be where the buyers start to step in if they're going to. Okay, so those buyers are starting to step in here, right at the balancing area low. Amir, I use the ticks as confirmation. So like if I'm seeing something in the chart and I'm like, okay, we're at a balance area low, we're starting to build some volume in here, we're getting some two-sided trade. All right, well, who's winning the two-sided trade? Boom, click over and see what the ticks are doing. Okay, they're still below the zero line. They're not clearly trending, but they are below the zero line. So it's more bearish than bullish. So in my mind, I'm thinking, slightly higher probability we go lower. Not strong enough to get me into a trade by any means. Short, but certainly getting me thinking. But then if they push those ticks back above the zero line, then they get me thinking, this is support. So as it breaks out of there, I feel a lot more confident buying it. The good old ticks. Keep on ticking. Okay, so now this little zone, this little area around 94 where we just put in all that volume should act as support if we're going to get continuation higher here. Final readings from the University of Michigan coming in an hour. That's a sentiment thing, right? Like consumer sentiment or something like that. So like now I'm saying to myself, okay, well, they're finding support. They keep tapping down into this support area and they keep finding support there. But then when I click back to look at the ticks, I see they can't get back above that zero line. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not confirmed yet. We don't know for sure there's more buyers than sellers. So I'll wait it out. I'll wait for some confirmation. I know we opened inside the previous day's range and there's going to be some chop. Yeah. Nunes, the idea is always to buy it, it pushes up and then come back down by the support. That way you have a less risk in the trade. But I would like to see those ticks above 0 before I buy. Even if I have to leave a few points on the table, even if I don't get it to like up here, I'd still wait for it. Just because the balance area low is such a like powerful thing. You don't want to get stuck in a long in the hole if it starts to sell off. All right, so now does this area that was acting as support become resistance? Just keep asking ourselves as long as they keep grinding around. Remember, this is exactly what happened yesterday at the high. We grind and grind and grind into the D period before it finally broke in the F. But then look at all the money to be made. Okay, looks like sellers. And if it starts running away from you, you mean like if it finds support and it starts to go up very quickly, I would chase it. This would be one instance where I would chase it. So like if it randomly right now like turned around and went like boo and just started shooting straight up, like I just grab it wherever I could. Accepting the amount of volatility we have. Well, at the moment, internals are bearish. And we are grinding around right at the last support that we have within this balance area. So I'm starting to lean more bearish here. Not enough to get me short, but I'm leaning. Same thing on the Q. With the printing of the B period, we pulled the value area right down to the lowest tick of the day. I have noticed oftentimes we like to get a few ticks of excess below value. Doesn't have to, but just something to think about. Okay, we just created a poor low. We often get a push away from a poor low, meaning it goes the opposite direction. If it were to instantly repair it, meaning instantly get one more tick lower, that would be a little more bearish to see. But we are getting the push away, so we're looking again for resistance in this node. Rob Farley, why is B a poor low? B is considered poor because it is one tick from the A period low. I'm in 2 tick increments, so it might actually be 2 ticks, but that we're counting it as one because of the amount of volatility we have. So that is a poor low because it is only 1 tick from the A. To repair it, they need to get 1 more tick lower. MK locked in 8 points. Do it. It's a great start to the day. You said your goal is 20, right? Almost halfway there. Would I short here to repair the low? Yeah, I'd like to grab it a little higher, like that B period high, but yeah, I'd short to repair that poor low. It's tricky, man. These balance areas, when you're right at the edge, like, it's tricky. You really got to have patience to wait for the moment. But yeah, from there to there, sure, I'd take that. There's just a very good chance they might repair it and then instantly find support and trade higher. So, but to the poor low, why not? Big Ray. Nah, not a good question. Doesn't matter if it's MES or ES, it's the same trade. Woo! They are doing battle. Bringing in that volume. All right. Well, you should get stopped out of that short if you got into a short for the poor low. If you're still in it, if the ticks can stay above the zero line, you'd want to get out. Oh, no, you're okay. If you're still in it, stay in it. Maybe start trailing your stop down a bit with price. But Charles, there's a poor low. Doesn't that mean it has to get repaired? It doesn't have to. And certainly not right away. But what would be interesting is if we did find support right now and trade to the opposite end, it would be a reason for the market to find resistance up here and come back down. But all right, I'm bullish as long as we stay above that node we just created. Balancing area lows are more powerful than poor lows. So if we did not get below it, if we found support without going lower, that's bullish to see. So there's likely to be some resistance here at the halfback, 43.10. And so I'm looking for support when we pull back down into this node around 95. David V in the house. Good morning to you. Big Ray. I like to warm up with the MES, then more sure trade switch. That's interesting. Yeah, build up a little confidence first thing in the morning. Also build up a little profits so that if you do take some losses on a full ES contract, you've got some breathing room. I think that's good. I kind of do it the opposite. I kind of start the day with the full ES, and then as the day goes on, if I don't want to give back my gains, I switch to MES. Simming as not glued to comp, 49 points this morning, probably wouldn't have happened live. Homework. Oh, I see what you're saying. You took a paper trade and you did really well. Ronald's saying it's too choppy for him. Fair enough. Like I said, once it picks a direction, it'll probably keep moving there for a while. Nothing wrong with sitting on your hands till you have confidence. Speaking of confidence, I don't love that tick got slapped down so easily. But once again, should find some support in here. Danielle is saying, did you guys see where it bounced in the pre-market? Only long to try now unless it breaks it. Yeah, so you're using the overnight low as your stop? That's good. I like that. Or are you talking about in the last few minutes? Yeah, that would be the low. That's a lot of risk to take on. I hope you're trading MES. But it's a good place to put a stop. If the market gets down there, it's likely going lower. Okay, next resistance is going to be the 20 moving average on the 15-minute candle here for both indices. Cyrus, I think poor high-low repair can take days in some cases. Oh yeah, of course. That's the bitch of poor references is that you never know when they're going to get repaired. Sometimes they get left for months. This move down that we've just had repaired I think 4 or 5 old poor lows and 3 or 4 gaps that were left behind from 3 months ago or whatever. So they get repaired eventually, but you never know when. CCT, how much is the data feed for AMP? Well, there's no subscription to trade with AMP. At least I use TradingView. There's no fee for that, but the data I think is $10 a month or maybe $15 a month, something like that. Danielle, there was a pivot there too. Well, there you go. It was a beautiful look below and fail. I mean, it was a textbook look below and fail of that balance area low. If I was going to teach a course on balance areas, I would use this as an example. I mean, assuming we get continuation later in the day here. But look at that. They literally just dipped below, and that dip brought in the buyers for the push. All those shorts started covering, started freaking out. As they are now. Okay, so interesting. We got the 20 moving average. We're pushing into it now on both indices, and we've got resistance there. So breaking through that resistance should get those ticks back above the zero line, and we feel good. Danielle, I'm in Europe, so I trade overnight. Makes sense. Do you just stick around here till 11? All right, through those resistance, those 20 moving averages, pretty easy. Ticks are trending up. Looking good to target the opposite end. Up there at 4406-ish area. As long as we can hold this support now, as long as we can hold this low, I would say at the very latest by Monday or Tuesday, we could be up there, if not today. Looking to buy dips and sell rips. Scooball, don't you feel that markets doing everything today like with pain? Like with pain. I wouldn't choose to use that word to describe it, but yes, I think tons and tons and tons of retail traders just got themselves whipsawed like an MFer in here. Because it was a tricky moment, you know? Tricky moment to read. CCT, thanks. Just managed to open an account with AMP. There you go. The only advice I would give you is if you don't mind paying the fees, use the wire transfer to put your money in instead of the ACH, because that shit takes forever. They say it takes like 5 days, but it takes more like 7 or 8 days in or out. So I recommend using the wire transfer. You got to pay like, you know, wire transfer fees like $30 or whatever, but something to think about. MK, yes, I'm using TradingView to place trades. S&P Attic, yep. It's even more ridiculous than 500 for an ES. It's 400 for an ES and 40 for an MES. You could literally open an account with $50 and take an MES trade, as long as you don't get liquidated. Charles, you think retailers were short? Um, this morning, you mean when we were down here at lower prices? Yeah, I think probably most of what's happening here is retail. The big boys, this is where you like I don't know, I'm guessing right now. Like let's say hypothetically we do break out of this balance area to the upside. We won't know till after the fact, but the reason it would have happened was because the big dogs have been layering in their bids here. And that's why every time it pushes back down, they're the good strong buyers. But we just don't know, you know, until it breaks the balance. Oh no. Okay, looking for support. Halfback area could be support right in here around 43.10. And then if not, that node from below. But I don't like how quickly those buyers dried up. That's retail. Taking profits too quick. Oh, you're from Malaysia, so they only do the wire transfer? Cool. Big raise are charged for the ACH? No, those are free. S&P Addict? That's crazy. Yeah, I think like Thinkorswim's like 10 grand. What is the commissions? I mean, you can look this stuff up on the website. I don't know off the top of my head exactly what the commissions are. They're cheap, though. They're very cheap, industry-wise. I've always been happy with their customer service the couple of times I've had to interact with them. Skewball, rotational? Well, we don't know yet, right? We're just inside the initial balance right now. So we'll get a better clue of whether the market is going to trend or rotate once we print the C period. See where that goes. James, hedge fund managers have been yanking the futures to satisfy their allocation positioning. Ooh, 3D chess. Well, we're just riding their coattails anyway. $64. Addict. Brother. Man, I wish that was a real ES trade. That would have been a beauty. But then your emotions, you're saying you wouldn't have been able to because your emotions would have caused you to make mistakes? Uh, Mudra, we're back to support. Is this what you call buy the dip? Yeah, I mean, short term, intraday, sure. Buy and support on a pullback. Danielle, Ninja Trader is the lowest? I don't think it is. I think I remember seeing that Ninja was more, unless you had like the lifetime subscription. I don't remember. It was years ago I did that research. MK, the market profile chart on Tradeovate looks different. Not sure how to configure it to look similar to yours. You can't. That is the disappointing thing, and why I spend all the money I do. Because you're very limited in the amount of control you have with Tradeovate. Whereas with Window Trader, you can pretty much do anything. I mean, you could literally configure thousands of different types of profiles on here and make them look any way you want. But that's why it's expensive. But all you need is to see how much time, so that's the number of letters going across, and how much volume at each price level. You don't need it to look all pretty like mine does. That's all you need. Number of letters going across, amount of volume. So if you've got that, you're good. CCT, the only thing I'm concerned is I'm not able to withdraw from AMP to my Malaysia bank. Well, then I wouldn't use them. You got to be able to get your money out. Exchange fees are going up next month? I didn't know that. Probably inflation is the excuse. But it's not like it's costing the exchange more for the electricity or whatever to process the transaction. All right, well, I'm losing my bullishness here, slowly but surely. We are really having a hard time getting those ticks to stay above the zero line. And that is a first indication that the sellers are starting to pile on. So I really need to find some support here to stay bullish. Rajesh, AMP is AMP Futures. It's a brokerage. Ronald says he wants to see a fat bar up and a good tick before he buys this. That's okay. Zeb put a chart in the Discord showing how he measures balancing areas. I checked that out. Man, we really need the buyers to step in. I'd like to see us keep these higher lows in the ticks and not roll over here on the advancers versus decliners. Can't even read it. It's so small. Oh, so it's based on fibs. That's cool. Never thought about using fibs for a balance area. Makes sense, I guess. Oh boy, those sellers are winning. So I'm going to go back to neutral here. I'll get bullish if we find support in this node and start to trade back up. All right, guys. Well, thank you so very much for joining me. I'm sorry I can't give you a clear takeaway here. I wish I could be like, it's bullish, going to the opposite end, but we just still don't know for sure. We're dancing right around here. So that's what happened yesterday. Dance, 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 finally broke, and then to the opposite end. So we're doing the same jig this morning. If we find good support in this node right here around 93, 94, that would be good for a long trade. And I wouldn't get short, like I said, unless we repaired the poor low and then came back up and found resistance. Just because they might come down here and repair that poor low and then turn around. So wait for that resistance and then sell that. Or the support and then buy it. That's the best advice I got. Thank you all so very much for joining me. Thank you for the 57 likes. So kind. And I'll see you on Monday morning. If you're in the Brigade, let's party. I'll see you there.